You're listening to a Soul One podcast.
All right, I'm finally going to give us an MCU update because I saw the new Captain America movie and I'm also watching Daredevil. So I'm excited about that. I've been remiss in my MCU-ness. And Taylor, you're reviewing a film that I believe is a historically significant event somewhere near the Russian area.
Mike thought when he Googled Odessa, the name of the movie that I'm watching, all that came up was I believe Odessa's the capital. No, Kiev's the capital of Ukraine. But anyways, Odessa's a major city.
And I got a lot of information about some battles fought in that area when I typed in Odessa.
My movie is not even remotely that. I don't know why they called the main character Odessa. It's spelled O''Dessa. It takes place in the future, so obviously they have to have like futuristic names. But I don't know why they would pick. You know what's interesting, Mike? Now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the characters have Eastern European sounding names, and there's Slavic, like Cyrillic writing graffiti. So maybe this is a comment on the Ukraine-Russia war. But if that's the case, that kind of went above my head. But there's definitely a Eastern European flavor to the names and to the graffiti, and I'm literally just putting that two and two together as we chat. But again, I don't know why they call it's Sadie. What's her last name from
Sadie Sink?
Yeah, Sadie Sink is in this movie. It's a Disney movie that I reviewed, although Searchlight seemed to be the main producer, but it's available on Disney. That's the movie I watched. Not to be confused with the war-torn city that Mike thought it was.
Yes, I was really uncertain as to what you were reviewing until you clarified that. But yeah, Sadie Sink, great name.
I think I even wrote to you, Mike, with the apostrophe. Yep, I did.
Yeah.
You just disregarded.
So Taylor, I have to keep. No, this is the thing. I have to keep my phone in the other room whilst we're recording. And I have a thing after this. So I have to keep my phone in the other room because apparently I have to do that now.
What does that have to do with the movie? Oh, you can't check your texts? Who told you that the cell phone has to be in the other room?
I did. I made that executive decision myself.
Do we have a leg today, or are you just being mysterious and that's why there's such big pauses before you talk?
Well, this might be a really short episode if we don't get this lag fixed, because this is attempt 3 to make this work. Hopefully I salvage something and people know what we're talking about. Taylor, I don't even know if we need to, do we wrap up our conversation about keeping phones away? I don't know. Let's just move on.
You said immediately, let's do a fan question. You read the fan question, and I said, you go first. You pick the movie that you want to direct. I'm talking very fast because I'm worried that if I don't talk fast, the leg will start.
That is the way you do it, right? Like, that's how you beat technology. You just talk really, really fast, and then and everything will be totally fine. Exactly. Any movie I could direct. Probably I'd want to do something new.
But the question kind of presupposes that it's like almost like a remake, because it's not any story or any concept, it's any movie. But maybe I'm just arguing semantics. So you would go original story, original screenplay.
Yes, so yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to do really anything, and I think it would be really cool to direct a movie. That's something that would be a lot of fun. I've never had the opportunity to do it. It's not like directing theater is kind of adjacent to directing film. It's just, obviously it's very, very different, but it's close enough that it's still kept my interest to always, like, at some point in time, direct a movie. but again, I don't know. I don't know if that'll ever happen. But yeah, to me, I'm so realistic about it that it's not a 0% chance that I would love to do something original. Um, but I don't know quite what that would be. But if I had to direct something as a remake, or I had to direct something from before, I don't know what I would pick, but it would probably be pretty obscure. Like I would want to do something like Mystery Men. Something
Hmm.
like really like a weird comedy movie. That kind of thing would be fun to do.
I I've talked about this before, but way, way, way back, like probably first year of us podcasting, Mike. And my dream project is The Collector,
Mm.
not the movie from like 10 years ago, but the movie from the 1960s. I can't remember the exact year that it came out, but I've seen that movie once. I'm pretty sure I saw it on cable or like Shutter, like with commercials. I watched this movie probably when I was 14 or 15. I've only seen it one time. It has lived rent free in my mind since then, and it's a movie that I just constantly think about. And I think that I could do a remake, and I think I would do it really well. And I think about even like what songs would I use for the soundtrack? Like who would I cast? So for those who are not aware, it's a movie about it's an English movie that it follows this sort of he I don't know how to describe him. He's socially inept, I guess is the best way to describe him. And he collects butterflies and he wins a lottery and is able to buy a country house. And he uses that as an excuse to kidnap a woman so that she can fall in love with him because he's socially inept. He doesn't know how to woo a woman. And so
I
it's
hear you, buddy.
you're like, I'm just waiting to win my millions to buy my country
That's what I'm
estate.
gonna do. Oh, what a great
That's
plan.
that's what's missing from Mike's
Sorry. Oh,
equation.
Taylor, can you start again? I want to make some notes.
Anyways, I think the story is so interesting. It is
This is a book.
it's a movie.
Oh, it is a
But
movie. Okay.
it might be based on a book. It originally came out in the 60s. I want to say it's Terrence Stamp, I think is the actor, but I could be wrong.
Oh, really?
Um it's sort of very, I don't want to say famous, but it's like a well-known movie in England, I guess you could say, in terms of this genre. And it's kind of gothic, and it largely takes place, if all pretty much the whole movie takes place in this house, and he's trying to make her fall in love with him, and she's trying to escape essentially. So I have thought about this movie, and like I said, I've only seen it the one time, but it's a very, very, very good movie, and I think that I could remake it and I could direct it and I could really do it justice. So that would be the movie for me, Mike.
Yeah, I mean that sounds interesting, and I feel like what's interesting about that is there's so much like probably isolated, interesting scenes you could do. That it would be an interesting kind of first directorial attempt.
There's
Where you're
this
kind of working one on one with a lot of actors.
there's this scene where I don't want to give it away, but the movie is so old that it's like, okay, if you haven't seen it, pause it, go watch it, come back. But she gets away from the house, and I think it's during a rainstorm, and like twists her ankle, and like it's just like such an interesting, like that scene again just like plays in my head rent free. So I would love to do it, and I would almost make it like a shot by shot remake, but maybe not. I don't know. I just that's a movie I think about a lot. And I think, like you said, Mike, I think it's a cast of two, pretty much. One place you'd have to have a really strong cast, and I would just direct the heck out of it. If I could get my little meaty paws on that movie.
There's this really interesting small movie that I like called Finder's Fee.
Oh, you talk about it all the time.
Yeah, it's
You're you just were like, this little small movie. Pause. finder's fee.
that
That's
I talk
another
about a
movie.
lot.
That's
Do I
yeah.
talk about that a lot?
I guess you haven't talked about it. Is this okay? Describe it, because maybe I'm forgetting. Is
It's a
poker
yeah, it's a
involved?
poker
Yeah.
game, these friends get together every week for poker on the night of the lottery, or every month or whatever it is, and one of them randomly finds a winning lottery ticket, and it's
Mm,
like a thriller of is he going to tell them, but he has to bet it in this game for like tradition and reasons, and it becomes this whole thing. Matthew Lillard is in it, Ryan Reynolds, a couple other people that you would recognize, like not their names, but their faces. You'd be like, oh yeah, like young kind of character actors. Um, James Earl Jones is in it. It's kind of, it takes place all in basically in one location. I always thought it would be an amazing play because the poker stuff would be tough to do without camera work. But that's what that's what makes the movie so interesting. I feel like a remake of that would be really interesting. But it's definitely one of the movies I always kind of go back to, as that's my like final test movie if I can be friends with somebody. If you can watch Finders Fee, because it's not for everybody, but oh, I love that movie. It's really good.
okay. Cool.
Okay, next fan question comes from Jesse, who says, sometimes I get really caught up in watching movie trailers and getting all hyped and reading reviews and getting excited for a movie, but then I go to see it and I think, I don't understand. Where does all this hype? Why are people so into this? I don't really like this. Am I
Barbie.
taking crazy pills? That's a quote. I think Jesse's quoting you.
I like that.
So my question for both of you is, what's your most overhyped movie that you've ever seen?
So I, on principle, did not want to watch Avatar. The Not the Last Airbender, although I haven't seen that movie either. The one when
James Cameron's Avatar.
yes, James Cameron's Avatar. And isn't the girl that just won the best actress or best supporting actress, isn't she weirdly in Avatar? Is that one of the
Oh yeah,
franchises that has
yes.
made her
So
a
is
millionaire?
Saldana? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. She's in three of the biggest franchises of all time. She's in Avatar, she's in Star Trek, and she's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Her all credit, well, I shouldn't say all credit, but her agent is working double time. Good for her booking agent. But
She doesn't ever need to work again. You have no idea how much money she gets from the MCU, Star Trek, and Avatar combined, and
yeah.
she gets money from box offices for all three.
And then she goes and makes a movie like Amelia Perez. But that's neither here nor there. So anyways, I on principle did not want to watch Avatar because I thought this is just Pocahontas with aliens.
That's right.
I don't get the
Well,
hype.
wasn't there another one, Dances with Wolves? Wasn't that like another one that people talked a lot
With
about?
the guy from Waterworld.
Yeah. Is it
Uh
Kevin Costner? No.
Kevin Costner. They
Is it Costner? Yeah.
really women of a certain age, and maybe men too, but definitely women of a certain age. I'm thinking moms. Like I'm a mom, but like our moms, Mike, they love Kevin Costner. So it doesn't even matter what he's in. But yeah, that sounds about right. But anyways, so I did not want to see Avatar, and then I was TAing for a film course, and Avatar was one of the movies, and we had to watch the movies as part of our TAing hours. Like we would have to go while all the kids were watching it. So I was forced to watch Avatar. And Mike, I'm right. It's overhyped. It's just Pocahontas with aliens. It's not good. People were I don't for our younger listeners, Mike, I don't know how young our listeners are, but for our younger listeners, they do not understand the death grip that Avatar had on the popular imagination. People were attempting suicide because they were never going to live in like the world where the aliens lived, or like what's the name of their planet, or like their society.
Oh, you're asking the wrong person.
Okay,
I've seen
well,
it. I saw it one time. I
yeah,
don't. No, I
people
don't know it.
people were literally, and I am not trying to make light of people who attempt suicide or have committed suicide, but that's the death grip this movie had on people, was that they were clinically depressed because they couldn't live in this universe. This movie is not that good, Mike. Certainly not good enough to take your own life.
So
And you're
I
probably gonna have to bleep all of that. uh
No, I mean, yeah, it's factually accurate. if we were to, oh, never mind. Never mind. I almost made
Just
it worse.
digging us deeper.
I almost made it worse. I almost went for a joke.
But anyways,
I stopped myself.
yeah,
I'm very proud of myself.
I'll take it up for the team on this episode. But needless to say, I think this movie is 100% overhyped. I don't understand why there's going to be a trilogy. I think the second one has come out with no fanfare. So, anyways, yes, that's the most overhyped movie that I've seen, and I didn't even want to see it. I had to see it against my will. I guess I was paid to see it. If you if you count TAing hours.
Yeah.
Anyways, Mike, what's your hot take on that?
Well, I mean, first of all, for Avatar, one interesting thing is I never fully believed the hype that people would give talking about like Elvis and the Beatles until I saw Avatar and the hype around it and went,
and people lost their minds
this
for it.
This is people losing their minds. Because I think when Star Wars, the prequels came out like in the late 90s, I think I was too young to like really, I was in elementary school, like getting close to high school, but I think I was still too young to like have a pulse
fully appreciate
like the world. So I didn't really know what was going on hype wise. So that was Avatar was one of the examples of sort of the first time that I saw such a fandom to such an insane level that it made me not want to watch the movie. Mm-hmm. Like it kind of made me like back away, because I always, and I know I've never liked music, but I've always found the way that people reacted to the Beatles and Elvis so fake. Like I never believed it. I never saw it true. Maybe because there's nothing I can think of that gets me that excited over anything. And that's why I think of it as fake. I'm like, oh, if I were to do that, it would be fake. I'd be putting it on. It's not real. You're not feeling anything. And then when I saw it happen with Avatar, I went, oh, this is really a thing? Like people actually freak out to this level over stuff? So yeah, that's kind of my Avatar experience.
But Mike, just very quickly, at least with Elvis or One Direction or music, those are real people. Avatar is not real. It's a fake world. I don't understand how people.
Wait. Now hold on. One Direction and Elvis and the Beatles, they're not real people. They're the persona that they're putting out in the world. You don't know the real person. They're putting on a show, just like every other star out there.
I would argue they're more real.
Over them.
They're more real than Avatar.
See, I would argue they're the same.
Okay.
My argument would be an actor or musician or performer of any type. Your Taylor Swifts, I can't even name another one. That's how little I know. But I would argue their persona is closer to performing arts, theater, and movies than it is to real life. That's what I would argue. So the person you're getting to know is not the real person. You're obsessing over the idea of the person and the persona that they're building up. So I would argue it's actually closer to the fakeness of movies and films. Not that you can't love them. I love films. I love theater. We all know this. I don't think for 1 second that it's real, though. And I think that to me has always been the disconnect I have with other people. Where I'm like, I know this is not real. I can disconnect easily. Whereas I think people think that is the Elvis I see on stage, that's the real person. And I'm making a connection with a real person. And I just don't think that's true.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. So obviously you feel the same way about Avatar that I do. Maybe not as strongly, but you do feel the same. So is there another movie that you think is overhyped? I jokingly said Barbie at the beginning, but
I mean, I liked Barbie, but I mean, of course, Barbie and Oppenheimer, of course, they were overhyped. I don't even understand what happened there. No, I can't think of another movie that's like egregious. I think we, I didn't like Joker, which got a lot of attention.
I think that was polarizing.
Yeah,
I think some people with Joker, like for as many people who liked it, there was as many people who didn't like it.
I got one. Pulp Fiction.
And
Forrest Gump. I saw both of those much later.
in
And
life.
yeah, and listen, I'll admit I enjoyed Pulp Fiction. I just didn't think it was as good as um, people said. You know, I think also I have this vague memory of seeing one scene from Pulp Fiction as a kid, and but not watching the whole movie. Maybe like I don't know if my parents watched it, and like
You
I
caught
saw
it on
one scene, I
TV.
caught yeah, saw, or like caught it on TV, which would have also made sense because like I knew John Travolta from Grease. Like that
Mm.
was it. That was the only like the only bearing I had for John Travolta. So seeing him in something, so I think that maybe was what it was. But yeah, like watching it older, it's a good movie, but I wouldn't say it's as incredible as people say. And Forrest Gump, I really didn't enjoy. I didn't think it was that good.
I'm gonna say something controversial, Mike. I think Quentin Tarantino in general is overhyped.
In terms of like, you could say the same thing about Christopher Nolan because they have like their bros that are
Yeah.
way too into it. But I think there are Quentin Tarantino films that are quite good. Like I think he is a good director. I just don't think he's like one of the best directors of our time. I
Mm.
wouldn't say that, but I could name some of his films where I'm like, oh, I could watch that one again and again
Right.
because there's enough nuance to it. Same with Christopher Nolan, but I think I get what you're saying because I think that's coming from you've got those hardcore fans
Ugh.
for them that are the most annoying people on earth, aside from about 6 other types of people I could name. But it's so annoying and it's so egregious and it's too much that I think that kind of fandom always has turned me away when people go so hard into something where I'm like, well, I just don't feel that way about this thing. Even the things I'm passionate and interested in, I don't feel about it that level. Like I'm not like I'm not. I don't think I do that about anything. So I'm just very suspicious of people who do.
I'm too
That's
much
kind of
of a
my point.
libertarian at heart, I guess, where I'm just like, you do you. Like, you,
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you can like that thing. I'm going to maybe judge you a little bit for liking it.
yeah,
And I'm going to like my stuff. And if you don't like my stuff, that's okay. Like, I know
yeah.
that, yeah, there's very few hills that I'm willing to die on.
Well, yes, and I'm the same way, except for like maybe one or two things. Like there's very small things where I'm like, or it's a core part of my belief, or it's something that I'm really
Yeah.
interested in, where I'm like, okay, there are areas I'll die on this hill. But otherwise, like when I was younger, I think I had a lot more judgment.
Oh, yeah.
But now that I'm older, like a friend of mine who I used to work with, she had this great saying that I've stolen and use all the time, where she says like, "Don't yuck someone's yum."
Yeah.
Where it's like just like if someone else likes something, why do you like if you don't like it, you don't like it. But it doesn't you can still there are every person that you make a connection with, everyone you know, you're not gonna like everything the exact same. Like sometimes you have separations, of differences, and that's balance and that's good and it's all like kind of good things. But I think there's just no point in putting energy in trying to convince someone of something. If you want to have a lively, fun debate, that's fine. But people get so upset when you say something against Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino or like certain IP and certain things that it's so much part of their life that I'm wondering like that's just not for
Yeah.
me. I
Go
don't
touch
want one thing. I want other things.
go touch some grass and come back and we can have a discussion. But
Yeah, and it's but have multiple interests. Have
that
multiple
too,
interests.
that too.
You know?
Like other movies that
Mm-hmm.
Christopher Nolan has.
Like non movies, read a book,
Yeah.
have a hobby, enjoy a sport, do
All good things.
arts, like whatever you want to do. You know, it's all good. So there you go. There's some fan questions for this week. We'll try to get to at least two a week to kind of go through this list best we can. Taylor, let's review some movies.
Mhm.
We've got quite a few to go through, and I also want to talk about the fact that Daredevil is back on television.
With the same actor, right?
Exactly. Yeah, same actor. It was a Netflix. For those of you who don't know, it was a Netflix series. They had Marvel uh, products that were on Netflix that were kind of part of the Netflix TV series where they did Daredevil and a bunch of different things. Very popular, and they were all canceled when Disney basically bought out Fox and bought back all their IP and launched Disney Plus. And then just about I think it was early last year they announced Daredevil's coming back, and now we've got it. We're 3 episodes in, and I'm quite enjoying it. It's nice to see Daredevil back. I think it's a good series so far. And Disney has done a really interesting job making it still feel like the R-rated Daredevil of Netflix, which I was surprised. Like, it's tone-wise, it's very similar.
Does it pick up exactly where it left off?
Well, a few years later, but
Okay.
yes, essentially in terms of where the characters are, yes, it picks up. Like, I think it might pick up like several months later. Everything's going well, and then something happens, and then there's like another small time jump, and we're kind of like total a year later.
Right.
But it does more or less pick up where the show left off, with a couple sprinklings of, the MCU has continued to move forward, so there's some things that have happened. But if you were just a Daredevil fan, you can jump right back in. Like,
Hmm.
that's the good thing about the way they've done this show, is you really don't need to know that much else. You can jump right back in to these characters. Kingpin is back, Wilson Fisk. Daredevil is back, and they've got a slew of new characters as well. And we got a John Baruchel Punisher cameo in the third episode. So that was really cool to see as well. He played the Punisher on TV and on his own show, and Daredevil as well, and people really liked him. So that was also cool to see. And so I'm glad they're back. I'm glad they're doing this. MCU's been so up and down recently. It's nice to see them kind of stick a landing with Daredevil, and so far so good. When I have time to watch it, which is not much, but when I do, I watch a couple episodes in a row, and it's quite good.
It's good to know that they didn't spoil it, because it's not like, because you said, MCU has been up and down.
Yeah,
Um, Pretty much all Disney had to do was continue doing what the previous season.
that's
You
right,
know what I mean?
and
So
that's what
like,
they did. And to their
messed
credit,
it
they did it.
good, and they
With
didn't try anything
yeah,
crazy or
no, I mean, you can tell there's more money. You can
sure.
tell they've put more money into the show, but it's not so different that it doesn't, like, it even though it's like, it's a new title, it's called Daredevil Born Again, but it's essentially another season. Like, it does pick back up, it moves the story forward. It's just, it is named something else because, honestly, like, you can tell looking at it that there's more money. Like, it's just more polished
Hmm.
than the Netflix shows were, but not in a bad way. But I think the MCU has done a pretty good job with their TV shows. There's been
That's
a
what I
couple I
hear.
haven't liked. Yeah, there's been a couple I haven't liked, but for the most part, I'm on board for their shows.
We
So
we
good
haven't
job.
really talked about MCU stuff, I think, on this version of the show, Mike. So listeners maybe don't know that you're a huge MCU fan, and I am the complete opposite. So
Sure. Well, normally,
evidence
normally,
that people with different tastes can commingle and get along and talk to each other for 7 years. But anyway, sorry, go ahead, Mike.
yeah. I mean, get along is a bit of a stretch, but I would have seen Captain America: New World Order the week it came out. Like,
Yes.
normally I would go right opening night. It's been a whirlwind of a couple of months, so I'm kind of just catching up on things. So unfortunately, I couldn't see it till now. But yeah, normally I'm that big of an MCU fan. I go to the Thursday previews. I like to be there for the big movies. I'm going to try to do that for the next couple.
You wear your t-shirt.
Well, okay. I mean, I don't do that as much anymore, but I sometimes depends.
Did
Depends.
you wear your t-shirt this time?
Anyway, so I saw Captain America: New World Order, which is the latest MCU film, which follows our new Captain America, which Anthony Mackie plays him. It used to be Falcon, but Falcon kind of gets the mantle of Captain America past him because Captain America is long gone. He's an old man now, or dead possibly. It's very confusing, but he's not around.
He's dead in one universe. He could be
That's right.
alive in another.
Well, I mean, it's so confusing because with him it's so different. Anyway, but it is definitely sort of the moving forward movie, as they try to set up a couple big things that I think will kind of dictate the next little bit of the MCU. And it did feel like this was the first of a new kind of step forward for the MCU. This movie's been getting a lot of mixed reviews, but I have to say I actually thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought that it was a pretty simple, small story, but this was the first MCU movie in a while that I thought used its shorter runtime to effectiveness. Like, I thought it was a nice, tight 2-hour movie, as opposed to, I felt some of the recent MCU movies, everything was a little squished in, and I kind of left being like, actually, you probably should have made this 2.5 hours. Like, you
Mm.
probably should have done that. You cut out too many things. It didn't make a lot of sense. This movie felt good for the timing. Like, the 2 hours was tight. It worked. I don't think that worked against the movie. The one thing I will say going in is this is the first MCU movie I've seen that it would be very difficult for you to jump in without seeing the TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So that was the TV show that passed off Captain America.
I don't know if that's effective movie making, Mike.
I agree with you, and I think that this is the first time I've sort of noticed it where I'm like, well, I'm glad I saw the show because I
Right.
know who this is. I know who this is. I understand where we are with this. And it gave a lot more background to what was going on. I hadn't quite seen that before. So that's the one, I guess, knock you could give it is if you're not into the shows, if you've just been watching the movies, this would be the one that I would say you probably need to watch the TV show as a nice warm up to it. But yeah, otherwise, like I still really enjoyed it. I thought the action was really well done. I think Anthony Mackie is quite good in this role. Now, I don't think they gave him like a lot to do. He had one or two okay little scenes that like showed a little bit of his acting chops, but for the most part, they've kind of kept him in the action hero thing. So he had a lot of action sequences. And then again, we're all good, well shot, not overly, I mean, definitely CGI, but not like in an overt bad way like we've seen. And so I think that it worked for that. And I got to give kudos to Harrison Ford, who normally phones in these kinds of things. He was giving it in this movie. Like, he was giving it. He plays Thunderbolt Ross, who basically ends up becoming president. This was played by another actor who unfortunately passed away. William Hurt played this role in kind of the original I guess it would have been the Bruce Banner Hulk movies. He played this role and one other Avengers movie, but he unfortunately passed away, so they replaced him with Harrison Ford. And I thought Harrison Ford was good. Like, he actually tried. He did some acting. He
Good
showed
for
up.
you, Harrison Ford.
Yeah, good for him. In an interview, he was asked what made him take the role, and he said, "Money."
I think he's just a very salt of the earth kind of guy.
Yes.
He's I haven't been watching any of that Yellowstone, but
No,
is he not in a Yellowstone like a
he's in
prequel?
one of the Yellowstones, yeah, and he's got that new show, Shrinking, with Jason Segel on Apple.
Okay.
It's like a comedy. So
Right.
he's been doing things like he's been
Yeah.
working past couple of years, but yeah, now he's a big important role in the MCU.
And
And he was acting, he was doing it.
it's a pretty, maybe his agent was like, Harrison, you can't phone this.
Yeah, but like, it's Marvel, it's Disney, they're paying you a lot of money. Like, you got to go for it, and he did. Like,
good for
he
him.
did it. Like, he was very, very good.
So this will be a recurring role.
Yes, I think they're going to bring him back several times.
He's not that young.
No, but I think, I mean, they certainly, like, in this movie, they wrapped up one part of his storyline, but there's so much from the comic books that you can go with this character. Right. That I feel like he's going to be back for sure.
Okay.
But for me, I think the thing about this movie is not one of Marvel's best, but I still think it's worth seeing. I'm going to give it like a high stream it, where I don't think you have to be in the movie theater to really enjoy this. I don't think you have to run out to see this. I mean, it's nearing its end of its theatrical run anyway. I think this is kind of one of those perfect throw it on Disney Plus movies, get caught up in the MCU, and you'll be perfectly happy and satisfied with it. Like, it's a great afternoon matinee kind of thing. It's a tight movie. It's interesting. It'll keep your attention. So to me, I think it's like a really positive stream it is what I'm going to give Captain America New World Order.
Here's a question for you, Mike. How long would a fan... So I have to be careful because there's like diehard MCU people who are going to watch it no matter what. The mouse can shovel out schlop and they'll still go to the trough. But for the more casual MCU fan, at what point are people throwing in the towel? Do you think people have already thrown in the towel and they're just like, nope? Because again, as someone who does not watch these movies, I don't have a good finger on the pulse as to what is good and what's not good in MCU, but my understanding is the TV shows have been relatively okay. But the last several movies that they've put out have not been great. So you were saying like this movie's not the best MCU movie, but put it on, get caught up with the story. At what point do you throw in the towel? Do you know what
I
I'm trying
think
to say, Mike? Like,
I think after Avengers Endgame, many people did.
okay.
Yeah. Not that again, not that because that movie was fantastic. I just think there's a lot of people who said, "Yep, okay, that's 10 years, wrapped up a story. Don't care from here." But there's a lot of people who didn't do that. So, like, I have a friend who she'll catch up on the MC movies kind of in chunks. Where
Right.
after like, once or twice a year, she'll be like, okay, I'm going to watch now these shows and these movies and like catch up and get to where I need to be, especially if like a big movie's coming out. But the thing is that the Fantastic Four movie is coming out this year.
Mhm.
And that's I think it's going to be incredible. I think it looks really great. But then they've got a movie called The Thunderbolts that I think is a little more obscure, and I don't know if it's necessarily going to hit in the same way. It kind of replaces the Guardians of the Galaxy kind of feel type of movie.
But it has a pretty you got uh
Florence Pugh.
Florence Pugh, you've got the guy from Stranger Things who just
Oh
broke
yeah,
up with Lily
David
Allen.
David Harbour.
Yep, David Harbour. So they're I think they're going to put butts in the seats.
Oh yeah, and I mean everyone, the people in it, yes, and I mean there are some excellent actors. Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son, plays the sort of discount Captain America guy. He was amazing in the TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier, like incredible.
Here's the thing, Mike. This is, I think, Disney shooting themselves in the foot, because something like Thunderbolts or the Fantastic Four, those are movies that like I wouldn't run out to see, but maybe if Dan or like our friends were like, "Oh, do you want to go to the movies? Like, let's go see the Fantastic Four movie." That's the type of movie that those would be for me.
For
But
sure.
I don't want to have to watch, like, those need to be standalone movies. They
Well, the
don't need.
Fantastic Four will be.
Okay.
That will be, yes, because it's set in the 70s.
Okay.
So it'll be its own.
But are they going to treat it like a prequel? Because that's what they've been doing with MCU movies, where like everything is interconnected, even in the most obscure ways. And it's like, I just want to watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to have to.
Yeah, that I'm not sure about.
Like the Black Widow movie I watched, Mike, which wasn't a good movie.
That's not a good movie.
But again, like it wasn't a standalone movie. They should have, what I'm trying to say is I think they make the mistake of, you have to make these movies as if you're watching them standalone, but still connect them enough that if you are following the wider story, you can follow it. But I want to be able to drop in and out, and you can't do that with the MCU. And I think it's annoying and it's stupid that they do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't disagree.
But I'm a fan and I watch all the stuff, so I don't know what to tell you.
Like I don't know. That's right. That impression is right on par.
Spot on.
I am one of the pigs going to the trough. Maybe a little bit slower than usual.
You're lapping up your schlop a little bit more slowly these days.
Yeah, starting to slow down.
I don't think, and I don't want people to misunderstand me. I don't think that that's an MCU problem. I think it's a Disney problem. I think they churn out these movies knowing that people are going to go see them because they're Disney fans or they have emotional connection to the original IP. And so they put absolutely no effort into the storytelling. So that's my problem with Disney in general.
There you go. So that's Taylor's problem.
Unless they decide to sponsor us, and then I retract all of my comments.
All right. Well, let's wrap things up with your review of O''Dessa.
Also on Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking about Disney.
Although, like I said at the beginning of the show, if it isn't edited out because of the lag mic, it looks like it's a Searchlight movie. So I don't know. As far as I know, this was direct to Disney Plus, but I don't know if Disney Plus. Well, they probably own Searchlight now. Who knows? They own. It's a monolith. They own about just about everyone. So excuse me. So this movie is stars Sadie Sink, and it is a Mike. This is a movie that you would absolutely hate. It is a rock opera that takes place in the future. And the basic premise is that the world is sort of polluted. People, there's no hope. Um, there's like one major outpost where sort of this entertainment man has everyone captivated. Like they watch him almost like a drug, and if you're a dissident, you'll die. Essentially, they'll get you. So it's a dystopic future. And Sadie Sink plays this character Odessa, who is the last in the line of a prophecy that says that she's gonna, change the world with her guitar and a song. So
Okay.
I should have said buckle in, Mike. Buckle up. We're in for something. So I didn't know Sadie Sink could sing. I don't know if she's the one singing or if it's heavily auto-tuned or what, but I would say it's pretty good. They're definitely Mike, you don't listen to music, so I don't know if you've noticed this, but there's definitely a trend right now where country western, or I should say country music, is having a real resurgence. And a lot of like Beyonce, for instance, put out a country album. Post Malone put out a country album. Lana Del Rey is talking about putting out a country album. So country, Americana, kind of bluegrass music is having a renaissance right now, which happens to be the type of music I like to listen to, more like Americana. I think they call it like roots music. But anyways, so this movie was more country folk than rock. I will put it that way. First off, so when I hear rock opera, I think like big stadium music almost, Mike. This was not that. It was more kind of country, Americana, bluegrass, folk music. Um and yeah, I think this movie is hard to review because already the cheese factor is like dialed up to 11, even just with the premise. So this movie is very cheesy, but I think, or at least I hope, that that's what they were aiming for. But it was like everyone got that memo except for Sadie Sink and her love interest in this movie, who played it like pretty straight, and everyone else around them is hamming it up. So I think this movie has the capacity to become like a cult favorite, Mike, like so bad it's good type movie. Like it is super cheesy, it is pretty campy. It seems like most of the cast knows that it's cheesy and campy and corny. I would say some of the songs were pretty good. Could I sing you any of them now? No. But while I was listening to them, I'm like, this wasn't horrible. So that's why this movie is really hard for me to review, because it has the capacity to be a camp cult favorite, but time will tell. Like, I don't know. It was one director and one writer. Like, he wrote and directed the movie, so clearly he had a pretty singular vision. And I think for the most part he did achieve it. I liked the look of the movie. It just was so cheesy and so corny, and they kind of made it a little bit, I don't know how else to describe it. So it's, Mike, like, how do you rank a movie that's sort of a cult classic before it's a cult classic? Like, it's not a good movie, but
you just think it's going to become something that's revisited by people for a long time. Like, you
yeah,
just feel like it's going to hit that status. Yeah.
like people are going to come back 10 years from now and be like, this movie is so cheesy, but like we're gonna sing along to it and have a lot of fun. So I guess it's kind of a light stream it, kind of like an airplane it. Um if I think if you are going in for a movie that you like the cheese factor, you don't mind if the movie doesn't really make sense. It's more style over substance. Then you'll enjoy this movie and you'll have fun. Like go in with low expectations. But if you're expecting like a pretty serious good rock opera, this is not that. So that's why it's like stream it, airplane it. But if you like high camp, big cheese, then
Yeah.
go ahead. This might be the movie for you. But Mike,
Yeah.
you will not like it. Like the way they use the music, even like when I watch a movie musical, and I think you would agree with me, Mike. I still like the regular conventions where the what you see on screen is happening in real time. Does that make sense? Like while you're listening to the song, like the person singing it and it's progressing the plot. But the way they use the songs in this movie, sometimes it would be like the person singing it and then there would be like a flashback. Like the song
Yeah.
becomes like out
Becomes,
of
yeah. Yeah.
out of time, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
It does. Yeah.
Um so that happened definitely at the beginning where I was like, okay, like is this really then a musical, or is this like does this follow the conventions, or are they just trying
Well,
to be a little bit more
are they,
interesting cuz it's a
yeah, like
movie?
are they still singing in the context of the movie? Like are they giving information through song?
Yeah, they were giving
Then
information through song and then
then
they
it's a
just
musical.
happened and then they were showing flashbacks.
Yeah, then it's a
But
musical.
I guess cuz if I was seeing this on stage, you wouldn't see the flashback.
Well, yeah, again, it just depends. Like I guess it's theoretically possible.
Yeah, I guess.
But yes, I mean the convention of musical theater, you are describing a musical. Yeah.
I thought this would be a fun stage production. This would have been a
Yeah.
fun high school stage production. That's how I would describe this movie.
Uh,
M-
careful what you wish for.
oh, I'm sure, Mike, in a year's time, coming to a high school near you, Odessa. This is again another case of this has been a recent trend, maybe in the last year or so, maybe 2 years, where I have just absolutely hated the name of movies. So the prophecy of in the movie is essentially there's a narration at the very beginning of the movie that kind of sets up the movie, and they say this is the story about the seventh son. Why did they not call this movie The Seventh Son? That name goes so much harder than Odessa, where Mike, you couldn't even look up the correct name.
Or if you like, you could go Odessa colon
The Seventh Son.
the seventh. So yeah, like you could do something like that, where if you really wanted that name in there.
But I just
Did I
thought
did I miss your rating?
I
Did you
said
get
it
the
was
rating?
a light stream it,
Okay.
airplane it. If but if you're into cheesy, corny, high camp, weird emphasis on the weird musicals, then this movie's for you. Like I couldn't believe that Sadie Sink in this point in her career was making this movie. That's how I felt. I'm like, this feels like a movie for someone far enough in their career where they don't care if they're in a weird movie. They're doing it because they love the script, or it's for someone who's in like independent theater. Not Sadie Sink, who's like beginning a career, who's I would say a little bit more of a serious actress than Millie Bobby Brown, or
Mm-hmm.
at least like that's kind of how I perceive her. And so I thought, like, really? Like, you're in this movie? Did you just like really like the script? This is a weird movie. This is for an established actress who doesn't care, or for a complete unknown. It just was a weird, and she played it straight. Whereas she had this kind of this Southern accent. It was very strange. It was a strange movie.
Okay.
I think you would have hated it.
It doesn't
It does not
it doesn't
sound,
sound like something I would like.
no. I enjoy it, but Dan put it this way. Dan says, Because normally I watch it while George is I watch my movie while George is napping, and sometimes I'll nap when George is napping if I don't have a movie to watch. And Dan said, "Would you have preferred to nap?" And I said, "Probably." I probably would have taken the nap over watching this movie, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. But I think I could see young high schoolers, musical theater kids. I could see them getting into this.
Okay. There you go. Okay, there you go. That'll do it, I think, for this week. Just a quick reminder as we go through your fan questions, you still can submit them. We're fine if you want to keep going in, but we are just trying to catch up two or three at a time per episode. But you can still email us, screeninginkingston@gmail.com. You can go on Soul One's website, soul1arts.ca, and you can just fill out one of the forms on the website and submit a question. That's fine too. Send us a DM on social media. We will absolutely find it and answer your questions eventually. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening this week.
Go see some movies.
Thank you for listening to You Had Me at Skip It, a Soul One Arts Inc. podcast. This podcast is produced by Mike Shepard and Austin Spinner Summer. It is a project of Soul One Arts Inc. To learn more about Soul One and all the great work that Soul One is doing in the arts community, especially in film, theater, and other performing arts, visit soul1arts.ca. You can contribute to this podcast by visiting soul1arts.ca and going to the podcast tab. You'll find all the information on You Had Me at Skip It and how you can get your questions read on air each week. Thank you again for listening.